We are gathered here today to give worship to our ever-loving father Tetsuya Nomura. Today we're going to be looking at our first Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. Even though I'm still very much in shock about its existence, I'm going to be doing my best to eat every crumb of information Nomura has offered us and regurgitate it to you, the audience, like a mother bird to its young. I'm very excited for the direction the franchise seems to be going in. I'm sure we're all extremely excited to further suck on Nomura's bountiful teat. The trailer opens with the title The Lost Master Arc, more than likely referring to the still unidentified Master of Masters, further signifying that we are now completely finished with the Darkseeker saga. We open on the interior of a building modelled after the Shibuya Hikari building, wherein the 20th anniversary for Kingdom Hearts took place. This is the same building the Master of Masters is seen standing on during the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. We can immediately notice that in terms of graphics, this is not only just beautiful to look at, but it's also a completely new visual approach to what we are familiar with in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. We can also notice that this is development footage, and it is subject to change. It's also interesting to note that the loser sign visible during Sora's fight with Yozora can be seen through the window here, as if to say that we the fans are also losers. The scripture we see written on the podiums in this building is similar to that of Scala ad Caelum. Whether this is a simple design choice or a pivotal plot point is unclear, but knowing Kingdom Hearts, it's more than likely the latter. The narrator states, "If this isn't the ending you desired, if it brings you despair, then leave this world for another. Your options are endless." This could mean multiple things, but from what I'm picking up, it seems that Sora is not totally confined to this world. I imagine that he will still have the option to explore different worlds native to this new universe while on this plane of reality. One would assume that Kingdom Hearts 4 will operate similarly to its previous titles, with travelling to different worlds being a regular occurrence, suggesting that Sora will be attempting this in order to find a way home. Before the scene ends, we are shown a big ball of darkness beginning to form. The screen cuts to black, and an unheard narrator states, "The heart resides within the soul, which in turn is guided by fate to its rightful place." This reads similarly to Sora's narration during the opening cinematic of Kingdom Hearts 3.
They can take your world, they can take your heart, cut you loose from all you know. But if it's your fate, then every step forward will always be a step closer to home.
We are led to believe that Sora's primary goal here is to return to his own world. Personally, I'm very curious to see Sora finally doing something for himself, as almost everything he's done before this has been for the benefit of other people. Travelling to different worlds to save his girlfriend, beating up multiple old men who simply want to feel emotion, and breaking several different laws of nature in order to save a dog and a duck from dying. At this point, Sora just wants to go home for his dinner, which, yes, could very well be gone cold at this point, but could easily be microwaved. The next shot opens on a picturesque forest featuring a waterfall and a vast array of plant life. I watched this on my phone initially and convinced myself it was real-life footage made as a tribute to the franchise. We then see what could very well be our first indication of Star Wars becoming a part of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. The top right corner of this shot seems to be displaying a rear view of an AT-ST walker. Although it's purely speculation, this forest may be a part of the Endor planet depicted in Star Wars The Return of the Jedi. We know that Disney has the rights to Star Wars, so it's not impossible for it to make an appearance, especially since the depiction of Pixar-owned properties in Kingdom Hearts 3. The beginning of this new saga seems to be the perfect time for the developers to dip their toes into new franchises. The enhanced realism shown through this trailer's graphical update may also suggest that live-action media might seamlessly blend into this new phase of Kingdom Hearts, so we might be seeing more unexpected Disney-owned properties in the future. The next shot shows us these red fungal-type growths on the side of a tree, and of course we all know what this means. We then see Ericus's winning chess piece, the one with Sora's crown placed on top, with text reading, "The choice is yours once more." It seems Sora is given a choice on whether or not to stay on this planet or to leave in search of another. One can assume this is the Master of Masters speaking, but it's anyone's guess. We do know Yozora wandered into Quadratum and had to undergo some trials. Perhaps Sora has the choice to either leave this world or undergo something similar. The trial might even be having to go to these other worlds. Again, purely speculation. Here we have Sora's reveal. As incredible as it is, I was still certain up to this point that this entire trailer was just live action. It took me a minute to rationalise that this was not just a very good Sora cosplayer, but in fact the actual animated Sora that we are familiar with. And yes, you may call me an idiot, but I will be calling myself visually impaired henceforth. It would appear that the fictional world of Quadratum will be depicted with a hyper-realistic aesthetic, which one can assume to be both a creative choice as well as one that benefits and suits the story. Given that this world exists on a different plane of reality, allows the developers to experiment with this new art style, while ensuring that they can easily return to the more cartoony style they used in Kingdom Hearts 3. Sora's new design is reminiscent of a promotional image used to advertise the new Kingdom Hearts fashion line, in which he is dressed quite similarly. We can see the resemblance to his Kingdom Hearts 3 outfit in terms of colour, but the style itself has been altered slightly. Atop Sora's red hoodie, he sports a leather jacket. His pants and necklace remain mostly the same, but I believe the biggest difference to be his hair. It seems that gravity has finally caught up to him, and I hope that by the end of the game, Sora will be displaying early signs of male pattern baldness. He awakes in what seems to be an apartment based off of an actual location in Shibuya. Nomura stated that this room is going to be acting as a sort of base for Sora in the early stages of the game. He also said that the room may be altered during development. The doorbell rings and Sora answers it, nearly as quickly as I do after ordering a takeaway. At the other side of the door is not a lovely barbecue-based pizza with garlic dip on the side, but in fact, Annie. This is Strelitzia, Laurium's sister, who we'd be more familiar with as Marluxia, Laurium's nobody. We can assume that she is here due to the manner in which she died. Apparently, if you were just straight up murdered in Kingdom Hearts, you end up in Japanese purgatory. Now, we do know that the life raft shown to us in Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory had the chance to transport someone to a world void of light and darkness, so it is safe to assume that this is how Strelitzia ended up here. A very subtle nod to Marluxia is seen here in the way the hair clips are positioned in her hair. Marluxia was the 11th member of the organisation. Using my skills of deduction, we can clearly see that is a 9. That is a 9 actually. She leads Sora to the balcony while informing him that he's been asleep for 7 days since he arrived in this world. At this point, Sora has been asleep for the majority of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. And finally, we get to see Sora's feet. Sora has been gone from his own world for the guts of a year, so it's safe to assume that his clash with Yzora was the reason he ended up here. It is easier to assume that the cutscene that plays after Sora is defeated by Yzora, in which Yzora states, "I will save you," may have led to Sora's presence in this world. But according to the in-game files, this ending is titled Bad End, while the other is titled True End, leading us to believe that canonically, Sora defeated Yzora in one go, as opposed to the 62 times it took me to do so. Unless, of course, he used the power of waking 62 times in order to beat Yzora, and in that case, I think we can all agree that he is never coming home. I imagine this story is going to take place during the year in which Sora was missing. So, Riku could show up by the end of that year, or he could show up anytime depending on how time works in this reality. There's even a chance he mightn't show up at all, and they might push that towards the second game. Strelitzia says that although Quadratum is a city full of life, that it is acting as a sort of afterlife for both her and Sora. Again, Yzora undergoing trials in this afterworld is extremely similar to Neku doing the same thing in his afterlife showcase in The World Ends With You. However, it is unlikely that Quadratum is the same world as Neku's due to the name. That said, Neku did invite Sora to Shibuya in Dream Drop Distance, so there is an opportunity for them to meet in this world, however likely or unlikely that is. Quadratum is shown to be a massive and modern city bursting with life. We see the giant orb of darkness from the beginning of the trailer has grown and formed what appears to be a new rendition of Kingdom Hearts 1's first boss, the Dark Side. Considering the design of the Heartless in Kingdom Hearts 3 and how colourful and cartoony they were, I'm very excited to be seeing just pure evil incarnate in Kingdom Hearts 4. Before people begin to flee, they stare at the creature in shock, suggesting that this may be their first time encountering something like this in their world. The Dark Side appears to be drawing in cars on the street into the air and towards him. Everyone begins to run in panic except for this legend, who is probably live streaming the event. Sora appears once again running directly into danger, as always. It's possible that this pureblood Heartless is only appearing in this world due to Sora's presence, or even the Master of Masters' presence. Since this world is supposedly void of both light and darkness, Sora's presence alone may have summoned the creature. There's also a chance that inhabitants of this world cannot see Sora, similarly to The World Ends With You, but it's impossible to tell through this trailer alone. We get a point of view shot showing the scale of this Heartless, revealing that the Dark Side in Kingdom Hearts has grown up, gone to school, pursued a career, loved, lost, but has now decided to throw it all away by beating up a child once more for old time's sake. We then see a close-up of Sora's face while he runs towards the Heartless, and it is clear to us that his face has not changed a great deal in this world since he still very much has the angry look down. He finally materializes his Keyblade, confirming that despite popular belief, this will be a Kingdom Hearts game. We now get our first look at gameplay. His shoes are too small. For the most part, it seems to be very similar to the gameplay in Kingdom Hearts 3 with a few bonus additions. The menu itself seems more or less identical to what we are used to, except for the last bar. The text seen here translates to build, so I'm very excited to be joining Minecraft Steve in this hellscape. This is part of a new feature where one will be able to construct and deconstruct in this game. It is known as Scrap and Build, and according to Nomura, we have more to look forward to involving it in the future. Flow motion still exists, but it's no longer as much of a spectacle as it once was, presumably in order to suit the art style. We see a pole spin followed by numerous jumps and flips as he attempts to reach his new foe. Sora can now use the keychain on his Keyblade as a means of grappling onto objects in order to traverse. This is reminiscent of shotlock traversal, and could be a new addition to the ability. Strangely enough, the chain appears to be separate from the actual chain on his key, as both appear to exist independently. The chains we see are similar to that of Terra and Aqua's so-called unbreakable chains in terms of design. so perhaps Sora is using his bonds of friendship in this world due to a loss of power. We then see Sora lodge his key into the side of a building in order to gain his footing before running upwards. He jumps into what appears to be a different scene where the Heartless has dismantled the walkway we saw earlier in the trailer, and now Sora is using it to slide downwards towards the beast. Gameplay doesn't look 100% finished in these parts, of course, but what can we expect from a first trailer? The ability to jump from one surface to another while sliding looks very promising if it is actual gameplay, but it may just be an animation included in a reaction command. We then see what I feel to be the most Kingdom Hearts aspect of this segment of the trailer, wherein Sora prepares to block an oncoming attack. A shield with a crown in the centre begins to form in front of Sora. He spins around while the Keyblade spirals in front of him before returning to meet the Darkseid's attack, similar to how Sora deflected the big planet the Ice Dog threw at him in Frozen. He deflects the Darkseid's attack, and we can see that a drill is formed because of this, or maybe the drill was what deflected the attack to begin with. We then see this drill enlarge, similar to the form change gained through the favourite Deputy Keyblade, but much less Disneyfied. The mouse is most certainly not in this house. He aims the drill at the Heartless and fires it into his chest. It has been confirmed by Nomura that this is in fact a reaction command. We get a close-up of the Darkseid before it throws its right fist at Sora. The camera zooms to angry Sora, then it cuts to a different shot where the Heartless is throwing its left fist at him. The camera then zooms up to reveal two hooded figures atop a skyscraper. One of them says, "However, if you do leave this world behind, do not expect to return to the one from which you came." It seems, even in the real world, the sun refuses to reach their faces. Although I am not certain on who the voice actor is, the tone seems to match that of young Xehanort's voice actor, which would make sense as the Master of Masters did attempt to manipulate young Xehanort and perhaps informed him of Quadratum, which would explain how he is aware of the place in Melody of Memory. Perhaps the Master brought young Xehanort to this time when he was a young boy, which would explain why he's here. That said, it was confirmed that the voice actor is someone we know, but that they are altering their voice for the purpose of the trailer. At this point, it is safe to assume that these two figures are Luxu and the Master of Masters. This got me thinking about the box. It's a bit strange that the second Sora disappears from his own world, the box magically appears, as if it's replacing him. If one of these figures is in fact Luxu, we can assume that the box is also in Quadratum. All speculation, but what if they end up putting Sora in the box in this game? And through some weird time travel, it's actually Sora in the box during the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. Maybe the box couldn't materialize during Kingdom Hearts 3 because of Sora's presence, but now that he's gone, there is nothing stopping it. I imagine I'm wrong, but you never know. The trailer ends revealing the logo for Kingdom Hearts 4, with an alternative style of font. The scripture remains very much the same, but the positioning and style of the letters seem to convey a more serious tone for this Mickey Mouse game, possibly further symbolizing the tonal shift in this new chapter. According to the Famitsu interview, the team decided to focus on Kingdom Hearts 4 instead of a Virum Rex game, as to not worry the fans of Sora, and also because the scale of these projects would be too vast for both to be developed at the same time. We then see Donald and Goofy wandering around a pitch black location. They say that they're hoping to find someone who can help, presumably with Sora's disappearance. Although we do not clearly see this other character, it is safe to assume that it's Hades, and that Donald and Goofy are searching for Sora in the underworld, as they believe Sora to be such a terrible person that he ended up in hell. I'm excited to see how Kingdom Hearts 4 will be incorporating these Disney properties. We know that the rest of the gang are searching for clues about Sora's whereabouts in places where hearts and people go when they fade away, and Donald and Goofy know that the souls of the dead go to the underworld. They may be searching for Hades here in the hope that he may know if Sora is in hell or somewhere else. There's great potential here for Kingdom Hearts to incorporate a Coco or Soul world in the search for Sora. Personally, I'm banking on a Sixth Sense world, where Mickey gets shot and killed by Bruce Willis. One can easily imagine that this game will take place in both Sora's world as well as Quadratum, as the developers would not have to limit themselves to one particular art style. Although I'd love to see a realistic Donald and Goofy, the art style of this scene suggests that Kingdom Hearts 3's aesthetic will still be present in this world. The trailer ends with a new now in development line, dubbing the game as Magic in the Making. According to leaks, Square may be aiming to release Kingdom Hearts 4 by late 2023. I don't see the game being any later than 24, as I can't imagine Square would want to delay this installment as much as Kingdom Hearts 3 was. According to the Famitsu interview, the trailer was rendered in real time in Unreal Engine 4, with a plan to discard the footage and move to Unreal Engine 5. I'm loving the direction the team is taking Kingdom Hearts in, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. I pray the Disney worlds are incorporated well and that each character has a valid purpose to go there as opposed to just playing out the film's plot. This trailer seems promising on that regard. I'm really looking forward to the combat and the new art style it's been given. I can't wait to see more of it. As for the music, it seems to be totally different to Yoko's previous work in the series. It's very cinematic while incorporating a sense of dread and unease. I'm looking forward to hearing more of it in the future. But yeah, Unreal, this franchise ruined my life.